2 years ago, this cutting-edge play inspired us to create an entire video on the evolution of pick and roll. And today, the play is widely used throughout the league. In fact, lower leagues run it too. Here's a more complex version than the Mavs ran in that video. Only these players aren't even professionals, they're in high school. Most of the great rookie seasons in NBA history are from the 20th century. For instance, 2 players in the 60s won MVPs as a rookie. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, 21 rookies made the All-Star team, and the last rookie to make an All-NBA team was back in 1998 when Tim Duncan did it. Only Yao Ming, with a massive fan vote, and Blake Griffin, who missed a year with injury, have made the All-Star game as rookies in the 21st century. Now, you might be thinking, rookies just aren't as good as they used to be, but the story's a little more complicated. If we look at a one-number summary of impact, top draft picks in the 80s and 90s were closer to All-Star value on average as rookies. Then, around the turn of the century, they fall off a cliff, reaching a low point in the mid-2010s. But look at the average age of the picks over the years. In the 70s and 80s, everyone was nearly 23 during the heart of their rookie season, but in the 90s that started to go down. Players left college earlier or skipped it altogether, and so rookies were younger and younger. And today the average top 10 pick is just over 20. And yet, the rookies today are still really good. Luka Doncic had a monster rookie season in 2019. Zion Williamson was great when he played. And so today's top draft picks aren't too far behind the older rookies of yesteryear. But it's the role-playing rookies who really epitomize the shift in modern basketball after the rapid change of the last decade. Complementary rookies used to just defend, hit spot-ups, or flash an occasional isolation move. But today's game is far more complex, and we see that reflected in how young players provide value. The most obvious area is three-point shooting, where today's rooks are taking and making more triples than ever, but that's almost a must-have for role players in today's game. So instead of just spotting up and shooting, they attack a closeout with 2 crisp dribbles, and that's an incredible scoop by Cason Wallace off the wrong leg and the high glass. Cason is a 3-and-D player who just turned 20, attacking and punishing defenses off the catch, who understands that a second defender has to help so a teammate is open at the rim. Here's an older, undrafted Craig Porter Jr., and when Jarrett Allen kicks out of the double, Porter ball fakes, takes 1 dribble, and feathers a layup pass. And this is incredible craft to slow down at the elbow, look to the corner, and let that play unfold. And as we discussed last year, players can go right on the catch instead of standing still at the line. That was 20-year-old Ausar Thompson, and this is a 21-year-old Jalen Suggs, who anticipates the pass, so he attacks the recovering defender by running instead of spotting up and stampedes for 2. Learning these reads is an instant value add, and we saw this from Christian Braun in last year's playoffs. He's spotting up in the corner, sees Jimmy Butler's head turned, so Braun slips free for the bunny. Here's 21-year-old Peyton Watson reading the defense on a Nikola Jokic pick and roll, and when a third defender helps, Watson's waiting for his man to rotate to the wing, but instead he tries to take away the corner pass, so Watson backdoors him. Yes. So knowing how to move based on coverages is a big part of today's game. Brandon Podziemski checks the shot clock and realizes he should come toward the ball, but he also knows his man is sagged into help position. So he attacks on the catch, and then look at his strides and that sweeping finish. Most rookies today learn to change directions, decelerate, and elongate their strides at the end of the dribble. So you'll see 20-year-olds like Wallace and Podziemski almost jump from step to step to avoid defenders and find creases. These moves really weren't legal in the 20th century, but now 21-year-olds are doing stuff like this. Here's rookie Jalen Williams slowing down to gather, then take an enormous step around traffic into daylight. Franz Wagner's about 6'10", but he's from the Manu Ginobili School of Footwork. And he's 21 here, busting out ridiculous strides through and around opponents. Manu really popularized the Eurostep in the early 2000s, picking up the dribble early and knifing through defenders while protecting the ball. And in the last few years, it feels like every rookie has a Euro because they're practicing sharp directional changes at a young age. Here's 7'1" Derek Lively using it to throw Jamal Murray off and reverse it in, and that big ball fake sends defenders airborne and is dubbed the Pinoy step, where you fake on the first stride to throw off the shot blocker, and cool kids like Mikal Bridges and Tyrese Halliburton use this move. And so do rookies like Podziemski, who has Jaylen Brown in isolation, drives right and up fakes Brown into the air. And think about how crafty this is, sacrificing vertical bounce to confuse a defender and stride through horizontally. So Podziemski isn't an explosive leaper, but he makes up for that with all these creative dance steps in the paint, which means when he's switched onto a slower big, he can use tempo and change of pace to drive, then goes early off the wrong foot with the rainbow scoop. These are all one-footed moves, but someone like Jaime Jaquez plays a ton off 2 feet, which means he can completely stop to up-fake defenders at the basket, similar to his teammate and the jump stop master himself, Jimmy Butler.
I've just been saying this for a while now. Jimmy Butler's been my favorite guy. I just really love the way he plays.
And the influence clearly shows up on the court, where Jaquez is a 22-year-old rookie who plays more like a 34-year-old veteran, specifically because of his footwork off 2 feet and jump stops as a way to manipulate defenders with his craft instead of vertical athleticism. So much like Butler, Jaime uses tempo and footwork to find openings, playing a mental game that relies on patience and timing to get good shots. Even though he's a bit older, Jaquez worked a ton between college and the draft to improve his game, training with former NBA player Don McClain to prepare for the next level. And this is where we get to why these players are so ahead of the curve today. Young players have access to more information than ever before, building on the shoulders of prior players, taking advantage of better technology, training, and preparation that are now a year-round job.
Way back when I was getting drafted in the early 90s, there was none of this stuff. It was me and if I had a guy that could rebound for me kind of thing.
And players are starting at younger and younger ages, hiring trainers and regimenting programs as early as middle school.
Did you know number 15 is the 64th ranked 9-year-old in the country? And I'm like, come on now.
No, I did not know that.
So we didn't have this growing up.
No.
And that brings us full circle back to this play from a high school game in California. College and even high school teams are running spaced out NBA-style offenses with room to attack the paint. Look at the 2 shooters spread out in the corners, and then a Spain pick and roll, and the ball handler snakes in front of his defender to cut him off, and then it's swung around to hit the corner for an open 3. And I mean, this is basically a carbon copy of a play you'll see if you tune into an NBA game today. Even the point guard snaking the screen and then sealing his defender on his back is a common tactic that this generation has adopted. Craig Porter Jr. comes off a pick with almost no space, wedges himself in front of Alex Caruso, and that creates some daylight for him to attack. So putting a defender in jail like this is really about patience and playing angles in the pick and roll game. So is reading a defender's position and rejecting the screen, then veering toward the shot blocker to protect the ball. And of course, young players today need to understand defensive positioning and rotations more than ever. And yet, they have this knowledge at an early age because NBA-style basketball is played at lower and lower levels, with a ton of space and pick-and-roll reads happening every few seconds. Recent rookies have started blending floaters into lob passes, which means that rookie defenders are now looking for that lob instead of the shot. Watch the 19-year-old Lively defend this pick and roll by playing the lob and nabbing it out of the air. In short, today's prospects have grown up in a spaced-out game, so they're spaced-out natives, sharing ideas on the internet, training for a three-point heavy game, and homogenizing tactics at younger and younger levels. So yes, the best rookies from the 20th century could make an all-star game or even the all-NBA team, but by age, younger players today are contributing more positive value than at any period in NBA history. And they're doing it by understanding the dynamics of the game, adapting to the needs of specific roles, and even using veteran-like craft and wit, which makes today's NBA rookies smarter than ever. To support this channel directly, go to patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. We have a ton of stats for teams and players that update throughout the year that we use to research our podcasts and videos. Let me know down below your thoughts on this one. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and of course, I hope you're having a great day.